Hey guys, my name is Megan Conley, and I want to share with you some important thoughts I've had about legitimacy. For me, legitimacy is like an instinct. I go with my gut feeling and I decide what is legit and what isn't. But in comparative politics, it's different. We can define legitimacy and discuss different types of legitimacy by giving some good examples. But just like instincts, just like the instincts of knowing what is legitimate or not, we have to understand why legitimacy matters at all. So, let's start at the beginning with the definition. What is legitimacy? Legitimacy is the continuous relationship between a government and its political system or process and its people. There are different ways you can gain legitimacy. One way is a constitution that sets forth a country's political system. Take the U.S. Constitution, for example. It was signed in 1878, which was a really long time ago. Yet the U.S. Constitution has been amended over 27 times in just 2 centuries, just to keep up with the pace of the changing country around it. A constitution such as the United States is a long-term framework that provides legitimacy. Naturally, there is more than one way to achieve legitimacy, and another example is through a social compact or promise between the government and its people. This compact created, however, can change if circumstances change. Another way to secure legitimacy is through ideology, like communism, for example. The former Soviet Union, China, and Cuba gained their legitimacy by using communist ideology. As a matter of fact, there are different types of legitimacy, and according to political philosopher Max Weber, there are 3 different forms of legitimacy: traditional legitimacy, charismatic legitimacy, and rational legal legitimacy. But first, let's break these down one by one. Traditional legitimacy is a pretty easy concept to grasp. It's a country's tradition that determines who rules and how. Tradition can be developed around a great story from history, or even a religion. The best way to understand traditional legitimacy is to think of a monarchy or a royal family. Take the United Kingdom. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth is the monarch. And surrounding the Queen and the country, there is a wonderful history, crowns, robes, and ceremonies, all relating back to tradition. Even though Great Britain has a parliamentary system, it clings to the formal tradition of its monarchy. Another example would be the regime in Iran that bases their traditional legitimacy on religion, making it a theocratic regime. The second type of legitimacy is charismatic legitimacy, which is based on a person or small group of people. Charismatic personalities and their legitimacy usually come from great instability, crisis, or chaos. A good example would be Russian President Vladimir Putin. No one really knew who he was before he rose to power in 1999, but he was a leader who brought stability to Russia. Now he dominates Russia and controls nearly everything. The final type of legitimacy is rational legal legitimacy, which is based on the checks and balances between institutions and laws like constitutions. This is the system that the United States is based on. No matter whom the leader is, the political system is stronger. For example, President Richard Nixon was impeached, but the American political system survived. Rational legal legitimacy can be based on either legal precedent, practice, and history, known as common law, or it can be based on very specific written laws. So as you can see, legitimacy can take on many different forms, but no matter the form, it is the legitimacy that matters most. For those countries which are democracies and receive their legitimacy through rational legal institutions, holding elections gives important and fresh legitimacy to the newly elected government to focus on issues and ideas that elected candidates support during the election process. As we say, the people have spoken. But if the people do not believe their election was free or fair, or if people believe they were unable to fully participate, legitimacy is severely lost. When people lose their faith in their political system, they may no longer wish to participate in elections, or they may protest against the government and the political system. If people think the election or political process is rigged by money or special interests, the political system and the outcome lose legitimacy. Some Americans are losing faith in political institutions like Congress and our election process, for example. Voter turnout elections in the United States is much lower than in other countries today, and some may argue this is because of the legitimacy of the elections. Sometimes people become so frustrated and upset with their form of government that they try to overthrow it. This is happening in the Middle East today. The legitimacy for these different forms of political systems are so low that the people demanded change of political system and a new legitimacy, but this process can be very destabilizing and cost many lives. This is why legitimacy is so important. It determines the amount of faith one puts into his or her own government or political system. Thank you so much for watching my vlog on legitimacy. I really hope you guys walked away from this video with a better knowledge of the subject. However, if you still feel as if you need a deeper insight into legitimacy, then I recommend you look up Max Weber's work on basic concepts in sociology. But once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time!